I hope there's a set of sticks. Now that we
there is. Mark's gonna play Stump the Drummer. Here we go. We can play Ticket to Ride.
Yes, Ticket to Ride. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Think I'm gonna be sad. Mark, I think it's today. Yeah. Girl that's driving me mad is going away. Yeah. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She don't care.
How about that? Ken Dashow.
Ken! No! We have more. Tomorrow Never Knows?
Well, that's a tough one.
Come on!
All right, you know. Turn off your mind, relax, and slow downstream. It is not dying. It is not dying. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Dashow. And now I'll give the mic back. No, I'm going to give him the mic back. I'm getting the hell out of
All
here.
right, so here's no, you keep it. So
To keep it,
a couple of weeks ago,
taking this home.
you know, Greg Bissonette, I had a few friends, we drum, we play, you know, we just played, and the guy said, because of this, can we do the whole rooftop set? And I thought, okay, I worked on it for and what the thing is, until you play it, until you go in, I know we have a lot of musicians here, I've listened to it for all my life. When you go into it, there are so many effing changes and things that are
Fantastic
happening.
changes.
That's
That was
what I meant to say.
fantastic. For the kids in the audience.
It was so. It took us like a half hour just to get "I Dig a Pony." Just.
That's hard.
But just so you could almost hear it.
How about Get Back? Come on, okay.
It's
Where's Mark? Jojo was a man who thought he was alone. All right, Ken, very good. Now, do you know what Ringo does on that? He leads with his left hand like this. And then goes. Let's try that. 1, 2, left hand. And then add the right hand now. It takes a while. That's great, but that'll work too. And then,
but then in the middle piece, he switches again. In one of the takes, in one of
he
the,
goes
yes,
on the piano. So, right, the Motown.
right.
Right, Ken. He does the floor tom.
So I'm sitting on the drum kit and I've got a pad and I'm writing myself cheat sheets of when the changes are coming. Ringo had the greatest feel, and the thing was, you know, we've talked about this before. Is Ringo the best drummer in the world? Ringo's the greatest drummer who could ever play for the Beatles. No one else
My
could
favorite
touch
drummer of all time. Of all time. My favorite song drummer of all time.
Song drummer, exactly.
Song drummer.
You don't need a 24-piece kit to do that.
Or drum solos.
But here's the thing is, I was listening to all the early music. I Feel Fine.
Oh, yeah.
What drummer would have thought of a Latin beat?
Where do you think he got that?
You tell me, I don't know.
Where do you think he got that? Mark Rivera knows. Billy Amendola
Billy
knows.
Amendola's here from Modern Drummer.
Billy, poke up and wave.
Billy, come up. Say hi.
So Ringo's a huge Ray Charles fan. Billy Amendola. When you listen to Baby What I Say, Baby What I Say, ba, 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 ba. He just kind of took it and did his own thing with it. Baby's good to me, you know she's good. But Ray Charles, he loves Ray so much.
I never realized where that came from.
That's my job, to teach you some Ringoisms today, with the help of Ken.
No, but think about how easy it would be to be just...
Right.
You could just play it so simply, and it would be okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that beat just explodes it.
He could have played Come Together like this. He wear no shoe shine, but he went. And then the verses, he wear no shoe shine, and then hold you in his arms, So many great parts, Ken.
And you know, and it's something we were talking about before with Mark Rivera. Listening. I think he was the greatest drummer, excuse me, that listened to what everybody else in the room was playing. When you see Get Back,
Yeah.
when Paul starts to put together Get Back,
Yeah.
and Ringo just walks over.
Yeah.
And he's just staring at it, and you see the wheels turning in his head.
Yeah.
And he's already thinking,
Right.
what am I doing? What am I doing?
Right, right, exactly. He's up there on his drum riser, listening, like Ken said. He's listening. He's learning the song. He plays the right parts for the songs. And there's another Ringo and the Roundhead member back there, Gary Burr.
Gary Burr, hi.
Gary Burr. And so he's listening to the songs. One of the greatest songwriters of all time, Gary Burr. He's listening to the song first, and then he plays and never gets in the way of the vocals. Once he asked me what I was writing, because Ken mentioned he started writing some notes about the rooftop. And I'm making notes because Mark Rivera, our musical director with Ringo and the All-Star Band, he puts together the sets with Ringo, and they figure out what song's going to come next and how we're going to segue this. And the ends of these songs, the other All-Star Band members, they do songs with different endings on the road. You don't really fade out live much. Tom Petty did a few times, but you have endings. And so I'm writing down the endings, and Ringo says, "What are you writing there, brother?" That's not a good Ringo. "What are you writing there, brother?" And I said, "Oh, I'm making notes on how these guys end the songs." Because he says, "Well, you keep making those notes and cue me because I don't want to think about it." He just wants to have fun. He wants to see people with the Sgt. Pepper suits and the Yellow Submarine cutouts, and he wants to have fun.
He still loves it, doesn't he?
He still loves
pure
it.
joy.
Pure joy, pure joy. Loves getting in front of people and making great music. And what a gift from God. The Beatles. I mean, I think every day music is such a gift. And it lifts us up. And no group lifted us up like the Beatles.
I'll give you an example, what just flashed through my head, Greg, of great drummers knowing not what to play, but maybe more importantly, when not to play.
When not to play.
So may he rest in peace. Lovely man, Alan White.
Alan
from Yes.
White, yes.
Who played on John's solo things. If you remember, Alan was here and we got to know each other. We did a good talk. And it's such a perfect example of that is John runs down Imagine for them. And he and Klaus, he said, we're frozen. You can't believe that I've got one I want to work on. And he just plays this thing. Okay, and you could feel your heart because you knew what it was. It was obvious. And they sit down, and John says, "Alan, you started off." And he said, "No."
Oh, sorry.
It's Imagine.
Yeah, I know.
He says, "Alan, you started off." He said, "No."
Oh.
No, Alan, you counted off. He's like, "No, John." Matter of fact, we're going to leave. John, you and the piano. That's the song. He goes, "I don't want that." You're John Lennon, who am I to tell you, but you do. You don't need anything. He goes, "I won't be naked with it." He goes, "Okay, but you got to start naked. It's got to be you."
Yeah.
And Alan said, one of the greatest things I've ever did in my musical life was figuring out when to come in on Imagine. You know? Really.
I forget, how does he come in on Imagine? Imagine there's... We can play it. Oh, that's what he did. Yeah, Ringo. You know, in my life...
It's almost like a Ringo fill.
I played that with Alan at the Tacoma Dome in Washington. It was called Woodstick. There were 104 drummers, all brought their drum sets, and we're all playing, and Alan's in the front. In my life is a great example of what not to play, because Ringo could have played, "There are places I read." He just, one hi-hat per bar. "There are places I remember." And then a little, but that little hi-hat, one per bar, right, Ken? And where I said,
Yes.
in the first rehearsal with Ringo, I said what Mark said. I said, "Ringo, where did you come up with the beat to End My Life?" And he said, "I think I just did what I did on Anna, the Arthur Alexander cover that the Beatles did." So yeah, Mark, amen. He listens. We were talking not long ago about Al Green and how I'm a Ram, the drummer who just passed away, did the I'm a Ram. And he said that hi-hat thing, Klaus had come over with an album to their place in London and he played that. He said, "Wow, that's so cool." Yeah, Al Green. So, yeah, Ringo pulls so much from Ray Charles. And his favorite drummer, anybody know who his favorite drummer is? Joe. From the Weaklings, you know Ringo's favorite drummer. Cozy Cole. Topsy. Ba-do-ba-doo, boop, 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 boom. Ba-do-ba-doo, boop, 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 boop. Ba-do-ba-doo, boop, 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 boom. Ba-do-ba-doo, boop, 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 boop. Then it goes to a big band thing. Ba-ba. You gotta hold on to your stick. You can't drop your stick.
I can.
Here we go. Ready? Huh? 1, 2, 3. Ba-da, 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 ba-da. The Cozy Cole, Topsy. That's one of Ringo's. That kind of thing is where he got that swing. He talks a lot about how his stepdad, Harry, would never poo-poo his music. If he liked somebody, he'd never say, oh, that's horrible, like a lot of dads might do. He'd say, oh. But have you heard this? And one of the records was Sarah Vaughan. Imagine your stepdad turning you on to Sarah Vaughan, right? So that swing, that Ringo swing, even when you hear songs like, take any song, Strawberry Fields, that's a straight eighth note song. There's really only two types of rhythmic music. There's duple and there's triple. Well, Strawberry Fields is duple, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and let me take you down. But Ringo doesn't go. He doesn't play 16th notes, 1 E into 2 E into 1. He swings it. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to Strawberry. That's Cozy Cole. That's Ray Charles. That's the swing that his stepdad Harry got him into.
Changes the entire song.
Yeah.
Changes the entire song by coming in there versus playing it straight. My favorite story about when George doing Here Comes the Sun and says, Ring, this is in 7.
Ha.
He goes, whatever, just play it.
Yeah,
where do you come in?
Yeah.
You know, and you just find a place to fade in the drums? Who does that? Ringo does.
Yeah, and what Ringo does. And what he does, he listens to the vocals. Here comes the sun, sun, sun. Here we come. He's not thinking like a lot of drummers, orchestral drummers, or people that have charts. Here comes the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. He says, I never counted. They didn't count. He just went by the vocals. Here comes the sun, sun, sun. Here we come. That's a bar of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. He's not thinking in 7. You know, I mean, George, you know, was big on Ravi Shankar and Indian music, and they know their odd times, and they count, you know, they count on their knuckles, right? But they're not counting. They're just playing.
Just feeling it.
Feeling and listening to the vocals.
But he also had perfect time. Mark Rivera.
Mark Rivera.
Come up. Tell the story about when you guys couldn't hear the click track. When he said we needed a... Tell him about Ringo saying, hey, we need the click track. When
The famous story about an interview he did, and they were talking regarding Jeff Lynne, correct? Is that the one you're talking about?
The one where he told you who the click track.
Well, it's,
I am.
What it was there's an interview, and the person said, oh, about the click track. Jeff Lynne and I, we had a lot of rows. He said he wanted me to have the click track. He wanted me to have the click track. He said, I am the fucking click track. And that's exactly what he said. But I'm gonna leave again. But I want to say one thing while I'm in this gentleman's presence. I play with a lot of drummers. I play with great drummers, great musicians. Greg and I have done so many wonderful tours with so many incredible players through the years. I have never met a musician more prepared and more in tune to a song than Greg Bissonette. I say that with all my heart. I told you that, and it's the truth. I mean, sheet after sheet, song after song, there's nothing he's ever done that he wasn't more prepared than almost anyone, because I was prepared.
Yes, you sure are.
No, as far as knowing where the song was going and being in the moment, there's not a moment that Greg is not present on that stage, and I love you for that,
Mark,
Greg.
I love you. Can I just tell a quick story? Because Mark and I met through one of our best friends who passed away. And Mark's the one that called me that morning to tell me he passed away. But the great Bob Birch, who was Elton's bass player for many years, and Elton and Billy Joel toured like crazy. And Bob introduced me to Mark years ago. And anyway, so Bob and I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. And there was a friend of ours that always called each other, everyone, Lou. So every time we see each other, we say, Lou.
Anyway, I love him.
I love you, Lou. Thank you,
Lou.
Mark. Thank you.
Greg, I'm going to leave you to it. You
Okay.
do your thing,
Okay.
and you're going to rock this out.
Thank you, Ken. How about a hand for Ken? Yeah, we've got another 21 minutes till 4 o'clock. So I would like to know if there's anybody that could maybe help me out and give a microphone to anybody that might have a question. Because I love fielding questions about playing in Ringo's band. Bob, how about a hand for Bob? Hardest working man in showbiz. Thank you, Ken, very, very much. That was fun double drumming with you.
It's always terrifying, and it's the most joyous experience of my life, getting a master class from a master in front of like 1,000 people.
Great playing, Ken. I want to hear that rooftop stuff. Okay, Bob, I think we have one right here. Yes, sir.
First of all, just thanks for being so enthusiastic and generous. You know, for all the world would be a better place if the great musicians and like you were so enthusiastic and kind to people. You seem so humble and still have gratitude for where you are.
A lot of
thanks.
Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you for saying that. I'm very, very, very thankful and very grateful. Like I said, the Beatles are a gift from God. And I remember when my dad got tickets to see the Beatles. We went to see the 66 tour. He was playing a gig. My dad was a drummer, and he was playing a gig at a wedding. And he came out, and there were thousands of screaming kids. And he asked the guy, what's going on? The Beatles are staying upstairs, downtown Detroit. And my dad said, could you get me close to 6 tickets for tomorrow? He said, are you crazy? It's the Beatles. They've been sold out for 6 months. But you're a good guy, bud. Come back and see me when your gig's over. And my dad goes into the bar after the gig, and this guy says, I got good news and bad news. I got you 6 tickets, but it's going to be $36 total, $6 a ticket. He goes, I'm making 50 on the gig. I'll clear 14 kids. We're going to see the Beatles. That was August 13th, 1966. And then a month later, I was telling this man, this great friend, that I heard Mickey Dolenz voice for the first time on the show, September 12th, 66. So that was a good month span for me. But seeing them live, we played Detroit with Ringo, and he said, I said, you know, you played just right here on August 13th, 1966. He said, after sound check, let's get the car and we'll go. And I said, unfortunately, unlike England, in America, we tear down buildings of historical significance. It's a parking lot now. But it was literally Detroit Hockey Arena where the Red Wings played, Olympia. I'm sorry I went on so long. What was your question?
No, that was great. So you rightly talk about how inventive Ringo is and was, and you know, I feel fine in my life. All, you know, come together, all those riffs, and it seems like on the one hand he was incredibly influential. On the other, so many drummers don't seem to do that. They do the regular, you know, hi-hat and snare when they could do more, I don't know, Ringo-isms.
I agree.
And why is that? Thank you.
I don't know. There's 3 words I'm not afraid to say, and that's I don't know. Because how can you be in a band playing songs and you're writing a song with your guitar player and your bass player and your other guitar player, and one of the guys says, I've got this lick. And Ringo just made a part that's a musical part. Drummers don't get publishing. I don't know if you knew that or not, but that's a Lennon-McCartney song. That's not a Starkey song. What Goes On is Lennon-McCartney, Starkey, but come together, even though that part is so iconic. Gene Krupa didn't get any money from Sing, Sing, Sing. Sing, 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 sing. Da, 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 da. That's just the drum part, you know. Believe it or not, the Supreme Court many, many years ago said, yeah, drum parts are not copyrightable. Everybody could start their album with Sing, Sing, Sing Tomorrow and you wouldn't get sued. But I don't know the answer to that question. Why? I don't know why. I think a lot of drummers are very self-absorbed and they want to play too much and they don't want to listen to the other great songwriters in the band. And if you've got great songwriters in your band and they're throwing like great riffs at you, try to be a musical drummer. Ringo is so, and was and is so musical. So I don't know the answer to that, but I wish, I mean, there's a lot of drummers these days that do play really musical, but there's a lot that don't. So great question. Yes, Bob.
Point somebody.
What's that?
Show me somebody.
Oh, you point. It's up to, Bob will be the bearer of the microphone.
Mr. Bissonette.
That's my grandpa. I'm Greg.
That's my father.
You have a face very reminiscent of somebody that's on this bill. Turn around real quick. Mickey Dolenz. Are you seeing it?
And Donny Osmond.
And Donny
When I was
Osmond.
younger.
One bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, girl. Oh, give me one. No? Okay.
Okay.
I love Donny Osmond.
I know you're a great drummer. You played with some of my greatest heroes, like I saw you in Springfield, Mass. with Van Halen. I mean, with David Lee Roth and Steve Vai.
That was fun. That was a fun tour. 7 years.
Andy Taylor. I mean, those guys are great.
Oh.
But you have a great brother who's an amazing bass player. So when you guys are growing up, were you like the Van Halen brothers? You just...
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. What is your name again?
Joe.
Joe, we met out there. Joe, yeah, my brother, I'm 64, he's 62. We grew up coming home from school, putting on Beatle records, and we had this kitchen with these two posts, and those would be our microphone. For I have got, I don't know, another, and we played Beatles song after Beatles song after Beatles song. And then we both went to college at the same place at North Texas State. We went from Detroit down to college, and then we both got one of our greatest dream gigs was Maynard Ferguson, the great trumpet player. Matt was in the band first, and then I got the gig on drums. We played together. And then we moved out to LA, and we worked with Gino Vanelli together, Jeff Lynne together. If you go on YouTube and type in ELO Zoom, you'll see 35 songs we did, because we were going to go on tour with Jeff and ELO, but 9/11 happened, and we didn't go on tour. But so many gigs. He was in Ringo and the Roundheads too, and I want to thank my friend Mark Hudson for getting us that gig, because he pretty much brought us in and recommended us, and it was just the greatest, Ringo and the Roundheads. And then that was 03, and then in 08 I joined the All-Star Band. But yeah, my brother's my best friend and favorite bass player. He's been with Elton John the last 12 years, and he got home and he said, boy, I love being on the road. I hope we do more Elton gigs, but God, help me get a cool gig with good friends and people that are really fun. So the next morning, REO Speedwagon, Dave Amato calls. Our bass player has to have back surgery. So he's playing on the road with REO Speedwagon. He just loves to play in front of people. And if you go on social media, my Instagram or my Facebook or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, you can see he has a new TV show with his friend Paul Dexter called Song in a Day. We meet at a Starbucks at 10 a.m. once a week, and we just talk about what could be cool, and then they write a song, and they tell me what to play. It's called Song in a Day. That's our theme song. So check that out. That'll be once a week. Matt Bissonette. You can go on his socials, and that's great that you mentioned him, Joe. Thank you. Great question. Bob.
Question over here.
Hey, over here.
This side, right here.
Comment. Yeah. Thank you, Greg, for
Thank you.
all your wonderful remarks and stories about Ringo's drumming, because there was a period like in the 90s when it became like a joke that he was in the right place at the right time, and but they chose him.
That's a bad joke.
They chose him.
They chose him.
And he was wonderful, and I'm glad that you're telling these stories now and giving it to us straight, what a great drummer he really was. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, he's my favorite drummer. I tell him that all the time. And you know, he found out that I was, from Mark, he found out that I was doing seminars like this since the early 80s about why Ringo's my favorite song drummer, my favorite drummer. The reason he and my dad are the reason I want to play the drums. And when I got in his band, he gave me this hug and he says, hey, I hear you go all around the world and have for years telling drummers why I'm so great. I said, yeah. And he goes, you got to be in the band. And he gave me this hug. It's like, that's the kind of guy he is. He's peace and love, and it's not an act. It's real. He looks you in the eyes. He listens to what you say. And really listens like people don't tend to do these days. And people these days want to cut everybody off, and even while someone's talking, they're thinking about what they're going to say, and then they'll respond with something that has nothing to do with what the other person just said. He'll listen to where you go in a little phrase, and then he'll nod, and then he'll respond to that. And conversation, that's kind of something that's lost these days. He's a very warm, loving, compassionate, peace and loving guy. So thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Bob, where'd you go? Hey.
I'm all the way over to your left. Here we have another question over here.
Hi, Greg. How you doing?
Good. How you doing? What's your name?
I'm Frank.
Frank.
Great to see you again.
Great to be here. Thanks, Frank.
Awesome. Can you talk about Alex Van Halen's influence on your playing?
Oh, you bet.
And also, any stage mishaps with the David Lee Roth band or anything, or any stories?
Okay, I got
Thank
a lot.
you.
I got a lot of stories about the 7 years with David Lee Roth. That was so much fun. First, Dave got Billy Sheehan from a band called Tallis, Buffalo, New York. Then he got Steve Vai, and then I got in the band, then a great keyboard player who sings really high. Here's a funny story about this keyboard player's audition. So it's Steve and Billy and Dave and I, and we'd already done the album Eat 'Em and Smile, and Dave says, we need to get a keyboard player that could play all those Edward, synth jump and all that, but that can also play Just a Gigolo, Louis Prima, and California Girls, someone with a sampling keyboard, but someone that can sing really high. I mean, like Michael Anthony, high vocals. And Billy Sheehan says, there's one guy, and his name's Brett Tuggle. So Brett comes down to the audition, and he plays all the stuff so well. But when it came time to sing, Dave goes, Greg, I got in the audience, he goes, ask him to sing something high. So I said, Brett, Dave wants you to sing something really high. And Brett leans over to me and he goes, do you like the Beatles? I said, do I like the Beatles? Does Dolly Parton sleep on her back? Yes. And he goes, how about we do I'm Down? Great. I said, Steve Vai might not know I'm Down, but Billy Sheehan will. So he goes, 1, 2, 3. You tell us thinking I can't sing that high. You can't smile because you're laughing at me. I'm down. And he just sings in the stratosphere. David Lee Roth comes up to him and says, that was great. Your keyboards were great. You sang all that high McCartney stuff. Welcome to the band. Payday starts Friday. Let's go get some Mex food. So I still love Alex Van Halen. He doesn't get enough credit. I love Alex. He reminds me of John Bonham, but he reminds me of his own thing. When you think about the songs, I'll play an Alex Van Halen beat. Tell me if you know what song this is. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was so cool. When he did Jamie's Crying. Jamie's Crying. And Hot for Teacher, I have to go over to Chris's kid because he has a double bass drum pedal. Hey, how about a hand for Tony? The mic's hot. So Alex Van Halen loves Billy Cobham. Be honest. Raise your hand if you know who Billy Cobham is. Mahavishnu Orchestra, all these great albums. So Billy Cobham had this song that went like this. 2, 3, 4. Tommy Bolin, Lee Sklar, Jan Hammer. So Alex says, I'm going to start this song off with a Gene Krupa floor tom, but put the Billy Cobham bass drum under it. What song is this? Got it bad, got it bad, got it bad. Yes. Let's try to do the Dave thing. I can't do that. Anyway, yeah, thank you. Alex Van Halen. We need to give him a big round of applause. Thanks for having a double pedal, Chris. And we played that song every night. every night of the show with David Lee Roth's band. We played that, and it was such a blast every night. So, great. We've got 8 minutes. Any more questions? Over here. We love fortune, we love fun. We've got a question, fun for everyone. What is your name?
Dave.
Dave?
Greg, in thinking of, iconic drum solos through the years, growing up with anything Iron Butterfly.
Ronnie Bushy, great friend of mine.
And then, Led Zeppelin with Moby Dick. But all of a sudden, here comes Abbey Road, The End.
Yes.
And that's the one everybody seems to, you remember those beats.
So,
and can I ask how Ringo remembers coming up with that solo?
I've kind of gone down that road a few times, and he's just not into drum solos. He likes, when I play a drum solo, he says, oh, that's cool, you do a drum solo. I do this drum solo every night. And Edgar Winter, in the middle of Frankenstein, said, he's very Beaumont, Texas, on the border of Louisiana. All right, all right, all right. Hey, Greg, in the middle of Frankenstein, when we do, why don't you take a drum solo? Yeah. And I said, great, instead of doing a drum solo like this, where most of the people go to the bathroom, what if I do one where I quote a bunch of different famous beats? And he literally said, well, I know that would go over big at a drum festival, but I don't know if a Ringo All-Star Band audience would really go for that. I said, Edgar, give me a chance here. We're in Toronto. I'm going to start with YYZ. Ba, 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 ba. I said, if people don't like it, I'll never do it again. He goes, all right, that's a deal. So I did this thing with 12 different drum beats, and the people seemed to really like it. Steve Lukather, one of our guitarists, started playing all the licks. You know, I would do this. And he'd go, I would go, bow, 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 manic depression. I would do this. We're an American band. All these songs like, you know, all these songs that are so Wipeout. How about this one? Everybody sing right now. We will, we will. That's the drum beat that everybody knows, right? How about this one? Dave Brubeck, Paul Desmond. So anyway, it went over really well, and he said, keep it in the act, you know. So Ringo's over there on the side, and I'm going, okay, I hope he likes this. I hope it's not awkward, but I got to throw some Ringo in there, you know. I got 8, 9 drum beats from, I got this one. If I got Charlie in there with Honky Tonk Woman and John Bonham, his buddies, how can I not play? I don't have the extra tom. There's an extra tom on that. But anyway, he went like this. So I threw in this. That Ken and I just played, Ticket to Ride. And he went like this. And then I went. And he said, that's great, man. And I said, I hope it's not weird that I'm putting you. He says, if you got those other guys in there, I want to be in there too. And it was like, I got the blessing, you know? But thank you. Now, just like Joe reminded me a little of Mickey, if you stand up and turn around to the audience, I'm seeing Ed Shaughnessy from The Tonight Show. Well, we've got Buddy Rich on the show tonight. Buddy is another one of my heroes. Ringo and Buddy Rich, man. And Tony Williams and Elvin Jones and Steve Gadd and Stuart Copeland and John Bonham and Billy I could go on forever. But how about one more question? If Bob is still up for it. Do we have one more question? And now, from the Trois Hotel. My friend's kid said, what's a Trois Hotel?
Greg, thank you so much.
Thank you. What's your name?
John from Connecticut.
John from Connecticut.
I dragged my wife here, my brother-in-law, and my sister.
Wow, very
Big
good.
fans.
That's so cool.
Two-part question. Number one, when it comes to picking the All-Star Band, is Ringo the judge and jury? And the follow-up is, how many hours rehearsal do you need before you go on the road?
Oh, those are two great questions. Yeah, Ringo is the one that says, yeah, I really like this song. I really like, this vibe, and he's the one that picks, I have a funny story. This is going to crack you up, I think. So I just kind of sit back here a lot of times and watch what happens, right? One time I see Rick Derringer walk over to meet Ringo, and I'm thinking, what's he going to say? What are people going to say the first time they meet Ringo? Because I know I was like shaking the first time I met him. So, Rick is he's kind of nervous, and he goes, Ringo, Rick Derringer. And he goes, I know, I hired you. And he says, funny thing is, he's from Dayton, Ohio. I was at my mom's house. He's got that, I'm from Detroit. He's from Dayton, similar accent. I was at my mom's house, and I went up in the attic, and lo and behold, I found a Cash Box Billboard magazine, and his band was the McCoys. Hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy. And he says, I saw it, and I couldn't believe he was going down this road. But he said, I saw in Cash Box magazine, number 1 was Hang on, Sloopy. And number 2 with a bullet was the Beatles Yesterday. I went, no. He didn't just say that. And Ringo's so sharp. He says, I didn't play on either one of those. That was such a great response. I was like, Rick, come on, man. But anyway, I'm out of time because it's 4. The clock on the clubhouse wall has said, Ken, keep going. I love this. Isn't Mickey Dolenz coming up?
Yeah, but you keep going.
Okay.
Ian Gillan.
Oh.
Woman from Tokyo.
Oh. Yeah.
Hi-hat Ian.
Oh, and Ian Pace, right?
Yeah, Ian.
There's a drummer, a left-handed drummer, traditional grip, left-handed, but a very, very Buddy Rich type drummer. He plays on McCartney's Run Devil Run, by the way. And so his speed, and he did all those fills like Burn. Really fast. That's Ian Pace right there. Lefty. Great question, Ken. I don't want to cut into one of my favorite musical icons' time. Is he not here yet?
Yeah, no, he's here.
Oh.
I want you to give me one more. Give me one or two.
One more.
Yeah, one last one.
Oh, one last one. I have to tell you while we're waiting for the next question, Mickey Dolenz changed my life. His voice, when I hear I'm a Believer, when I hear Not Your Stepping Stone, or so many of his amazing, those vocals, man. Wow. I got to play with him about 20 years ago for this Mark and Brian show, a radio show in LA. They had a benefit, and I got to play drums for him. But one more question. Do we have one more? Right in the front.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the other part of your question. From Connecticut, how long do we rehearse? Usually 3 days. And what happens is we get the songs ahead of time. For instance, I helped get Steve Lukather the gig on guitar singing Rosanna, Hold the Line, and Africa. And so Ringo says, we're going to do Rosanna. That's kind of a tricky beat. I said, yeah, but just groove and have fun. It'll be a blast. Because the Jeff Porcaro beat is not easy. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Rosanna. There's a lot of little stuff going on with the snare drum, and so we learn the songs, and then Mark Rivera, as I mentioned, he comes in and he rehearses the band. And Mark is a musical genius. He's got, I think, perfect pitch. He says relative pitch, but he knows all the vocal parts, all the keyboard parts, the guitar parts. He can sing all the high parts, play sax, and he is the neutral party that gets to really tell it like it is. Oh, you're not singing the right harmony on that. Oh, you're right. So he really knows. Mark is the best.
Once again, Greg Bissonette.
Thank you very, very much. God bless you. And we'll see you this May. Come to Vegas. We're doing a residency. Come to Vegas.
We'll be there.
Viva!
That's the reason to be there.
Ken, thank you,
What
brother.
an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you for
so
another
much.
drum lesson.
Thank you.
Greg Bissonette, one more time.
Thank you, brother. Sorry about the cowbell thing.